part 9 on how to join the elite. And this may be a video I expedite because what I'm about to talk about is very relevant to recent events that have been going on in the Black Manosphere. Regardless of what you've seen and what we've experienced in the videos that have been uploaded with members targeting one another, this group targeting that group, and so forth, my only response to all of that, to all the beefs that you can name that happened in the past 6 months, particularly those pertaining or involving Black Manosphere members, is this. We don't have to get along to go along. And hopefully the title itself should be very self-explanatory. And when I say go along, what do I mean? Well, go along, meaning to go along with the mission objectives, the goals, the statements on why the group was created in the first place. Now, I've seen enough of what this guy has said and that guy has said, or what this guy has said and the other guy has said, and I'm not going to mention names out of respect for all the men. If you don't know all the beefs by now, research it. Look for it yourself. And this is partially the reason why when you sub to a channel, it's always useful to click that bell button so you receive email notifications or text notifications if you're that obsessed on every single time a video is being uploaded or is being streamed live. But as far as getting along to go along, or not having to get along to go along, it's simple. You don't have to like everyone you work with. You don't have to, you damn sure don't have to agree with everyone you work alongside with. Particularly if all of you are focused on the same goals, same aspirations, and same objective, then the need to be best friends and talk to each other on cell phones past what you guys are doing, it isn't necessary. And in the Black community, I feel as if a lot of people believe that in order to have a successful business, you have to work with people who you like and who like you and who are your best friends and people you grew up around and would eat freaking, I don't know, collard green sandwiches with on Thanksgiving. Look, it's simple. In real life, in the real world, a lot of people who can't stand each other will collaborate together in order to make a masterpiece, in order to make organizations, in order to make conglomerations, or in order to make great art and great pieces of work at the very least. I mean, since we're talking about the Black Manosphere, it's been noted that Jay-Z and Kanye West do not like each other one bit. And I'm not sure they ever did like each other, but one thing they were able to do is to combine their strengths and contribute to making great works of art. Now, personally, I'm not the biggest fan of either one. Well, actually, I'm not. I don't think they're bad, but just not my kind of music. I do have some. Let me stop being all my high and mighty. I do listen to some Jay-Z and some Kanye, but it's in small doses. But the point is this: people who do not like each other always collaborate, always join forces, and will always put their egos to the side, especially if they're working on the same objective. Especially in the cases of the two guys or the entities of the same group being threatened by someone else equally. And we don't need to go too far back in history, at least, to point to an example on when two forces, the United States of America and the USSR, even though these two countries were historical rivals, were historical rivals, and continued their rivalry up until 50 years past World War II, both sides realized that there was an evil that was greater, or there was a threat that was greater, there was a threat to the world that was formidable within itself, in Nazi Germany. And they realized that in order to squish this threat, in order to officially and definitely tranquilize, neutralize, and get rid of the world of this threat, that they would have to combine forces. So you have the USA and USSR, along with several other countries, being joined together as the Allied Nations. These Allied Nations would have a back and forth tussle with Nazi Germany and the occupied territories, as well as some of the allies of Nazi Germany themselves. And that allyship between the USA and USSR specifically would be the catalyst, along with the UK and the Prime Minister, what's his name? His name always escapes my tongue, but those three great powers taking down what a lot of people would consider the greatest evil of humanity. Similar scenarios have fallen upon black male YouTube, or did fall upon black male YouTube, to the point in which you would have people who generally didn't like each other putting in ceasefires and truce verbally in order to take care of the greater threat. If all of you don't know what I'm talking about, earlier this year there was this attack of the sisterhood on black men on YouTube who spoke out against black female fuckery. A lot of this eventually was pinned at one person, particularly Obsidian Media Network. But as a result of him going off, a lot more people were targeted. And while some people immediately blamed the city for this, the majority of black men decided to suck up the blame, or at least defer the blame until after the threat was resolved, and decided to take action against this sisterhood of women who threatened all their channels equally. That was a great example of black male unity and black male allyship. Something which definitely is needed now. Granted, the threat isn't as obvious as it once was, but the vigilance that all black men need against those who pose and those who threaten them is always needed. And I know hopefully I'm not being a bit too repetitive here, but what I'm trying to say is this. If black men can put aside ego, which so far what I'm seeing, they can. And I have to give it to the black manosphere and whoever that, yes, there are times in which they'll tussle back and forth and the arguing roast back and forth, which will last about a few weeks. But after that, a lot of that is put to the side for the greater good, whether it's the greater good in the black manosphere, the greater good with SYSBN, the greater good with the websites that these respective groups run. A lot of this, and I did mention on an earlier vid that I'm disappointed in the black manosphere. That was in particularly the some of the viewers, and from the Brother Pill podcast, I still hold that disappointment because a lot of the men who call there are sad sacks of shit. But as far as the people who make videos and who are members of the black manosphere, for the most part, I am pleased, at least for now. As someone who was here on YouTube before the advent of the Black Manosphere, at least, and the way it is now, I can say that beefs lasted a lot longer, started over much less, and resulted in much more catastrophic effects, particularly for YouTube channels. The fact that beefs can come and go like that, or come and go quicker than they once did, shows progress, and shows the point that we all don't have to get along to go along. We can never say, this YouTuber can never say anything to that YouTuber, or it can be a case that, like in the movie Life, the one with Martin Lawrence and Eddie Murphy, that they don't speak for 50 years. It can be like that. But as long as we all know what we're doing, and as long as we share the same goals and objectives, and as long as we build to that, whether using one site or individual sites or individual videos or collaborative videos, as long as we have the same objectives and goals, as long as we focus on that, then that is ultimately what is going to help us get our voice out, get our stories out, get our side out. And in many cases, I know a lot of people say that they don't care about what the outside society thinks, which is bullshit, but a lot of these stories will help clear our name and restore our reputation. That is the ultimate goal, I believe, of what the Black Manosphere is doing. And for that, as long as everyone sticks to the goal, keeps the beefing and roasted a minimum, then you all have my support. And this should go for everyone who's watching. You don't have to like the next person in order to work with them. And you always don't have to agree with the next person to work with them. But as long as all of you have the same goals in mind, suck it up and get the job done. Everyone else out there, always bet on X.